Today on Dead Dodge Garage, choose your own adventure. 1971 Hemi Powered Challenger Edition. There are a lot of things I really like about working here at Rocket Restorations. One of those things, every day is a little bit different. Some days you're building a 440, twice. Some days you're playing with an original Hemi car. And some days you're doing a really crazy modern drivetrain swap. This is the Red 71, the Hemi Swap Challenger project. And as you can see, it's kind of getting places. It's got a good chunk of an air conditioning system now. Some of an electrical system, although there's still quite a bit of that going on. Things are actually looking pretty together under here. I'm just about ready for a dashboard. Admire the horrible wiring mess. It's much better than what I started with. If you're interested in my thoughts on that aftermarket wiring setup, there's a whole video just dedicated to that, so check it out. It's just really neat to me that in one day, in the same shop, we can have this craziness going on, and we can have an original low miles, numbers matching Hemi 4-speed car. I actually did a video going through these carburetors on the channel last year. Doing some light reading. Not my strong suit. Not because I can't read or anything. I don't know if it was a good video or not, and I didn't really show the car at all. But here it is. It's so purple. Just seems like a rare day that you've got two really nice 71 Dodge Challengers sitting next to each other. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to kind of compare and contrast. This car is back at Rocket for a second round of making things a little more correct. Last time it was here, we changed the radiator and all the hoses and clamps and that sort of thing. Obviously, being an original numbers matching Hemi car, this thing is very much deserving of the nice little factory touches. And that's what we're working on. There are a few more things to get through, but in general, it's looking really good. This car must have spent some time as a drag car. These fenders are over-the-counter Chrysler replacements, which is kind of cool. But this one had an antenna hole, which is not correct for this car, being radio delete. So this time we have that fixed. Trev just finished getting the stripes back on it yesterday. Beautiful. I love that look. There aren't a lot of cars out there cooler than the 71 Challenger RT. Here's a look inside, where of course we see the obligatory pistol grip 4-speed shifter. No console. Simple. The Hemi cars had a manual choke. We just lubricated all that yesterday to get it working correctly. Oh, we put a heater core in this last year too. Forgot about that. Now, of course, 426 Hemi cars are still just cars. And last year on a test drive, we also broke the throttle cable, requiring the zip tie repair on the side of the road. Poetry is snapping the throttle cable on the first test drive. Good times. Super rare factory option. Quick release throttle cable. In case you're wondering, this is how you fix this. And this is why you always carry zip ties. Not that we were carrying zip ties. That's good enough. I mean, I doubled them up, so it's probably fine. Oh, I forgot we put a clutch on this thing too. In fact, it was kind of crazy. Someone had siliconed the transmission to the bell housing. You wouldn't believe what it took to get that free. Factory drum brakes on a Hemi car. We still have some finishing touches to do here. License plate bracket for one thing. And it's still missing a headlight, but that's all right. Now don't mind the bit of dust either. This car's been with us for a couple months. It's just about to be finished. We'll be leaving on Friday, so it'll get a nice detail job before then. Now Austin's Red 71 is really, really dusty, unfortunately. After a trip to the body shop and being here for assembly for quite a while, it's kind of inevitable. I wish this car was a little more done right now, because what could possibly be better than a sound clip and drive comparison between these two? Unfortunately, that's not really an option. Now, I have driven both of these cars. I know. I can't believe they let me drive a Hemi 4-speed car either. But I have some thoughts. When I drove the Red 71, it still had this Magnum engine, which was perfectly acceptable. It wasn't a madman by any means, but it was fun. This 392, on the other hand, horse of a different color. I'm looking forward to seeing what that does. Now, I did actually have this engine fired up a couple weeks ago, before taking everything back apart to button up the wiring. Now this one we can start, so I guess we better just go ahead and do that. 426 Hemi cold start? Sounds like a party to me. Nothing quite like this, is there? It's like being in the presence of, I don't know, a magical being? I just remembered last year it had the wrong spark plugs in it, and I got to fix that too. I did a bit of a tune on it. It definitely needs some more. There's obviously a lot more I could say about this. It's legendary. It's special, extremely unique, exceptionally rare, quite valuable. Okay, I do have to show you this. That's not just any purple 71 Challenger RT Hemi 4-speed car. It's that purple Challenger. How cool is that? If you know me at all, you know that if I owned this, that Hot Wheels would be sitting on the dash at all times. Anyway, oh yeah, don't mind that. Why am I showing you this car? Oh yeah, because it's awesome. But more than that, it seems like a timely opportunity to compare and contrast the two different styles of building a car like this. It didn't have to be a Hemi car, it just is. You've got the old school, factory type, hammer approach. That's a really big hammer. Or you've got the more modern, new school, technical approach, with a bunch of extra wires and gizmos. Considering I made a video about a month ago expounding the virtues of factory-type Mopars, I think I've made my point of view on this pretty clear. Personally, I'm at home in something like this. Factory-type drivetrain, rattier the better, cool, simple, and relatively affordable. I am not at home in a Hemi car. It's anything but affordable, but it is cool. And it's simple. No power steering, no power brakes. No air conditioning. It doesn't even have an automatic transmission. Yes, it has a Hemi. There's some science involved there. But even if it were a 383 or a 440, it would still be plenty torquey, fun to drive, and equally simple. This unit over here, on the other hand, anything but, really. Short of a 4-link rear suspension and coilovers in the front, it's got just about every modification you could think of. QA1 tubular K-frame, fancy strut rods, tubular control arms, Bilstein shocks, reinforced lowers, QA1 stiffening kit, subframe connectors, torque boxes, 6-speed manual transmission, modern aftermarket air conditioning system, the aforementioned wiring setup, and of course under the hood, plucked out of a 2015 Hemi Challenger SRT, a 392, which in this configuration probably going to chuck out about 520 horsepower. So to put that another way, a good bit more than the 426. This car is going to be a rocket ship. It's going to highway cruise, it's going to get excellent fuel economy, and maybe most important of all, it's going to go around corners and stop and just drive nicely. This is kind of the modern approach to building a car like this. I'm not here to say it's bad. It's going to be amazing, but it's totally different. It's nothing like the original intention of the car. This thing kind of drives how you would expect. It's got way too much torque. It's hard to steer. It doesn't stop very well. And while it does go around corners, it surely doesn't do it with authority. But that's not what it's for. I mean, obviously that's not what this one is for. This one's kind of a museum piece. Although, believe it or not, it does get driven. I can't wait to get this thing done enough to actually drive it again. I think my opinion's probably going to change quite a bit once that happens. Currently, I'm looking at it with the perspective of the guy that had to put it together, and yeah, from where I'm sitting, this is nuts. There's no way to put into words how much time and thought has gone into this project. For one thing, there are pretty rigid packaging constraints. For example, the Terminator X computer needs to live right here. There's really nowhere else for it to live, frankly. I had to get the inside wiring over to it cleanly. I think I've almost accomplished that. Need to add a couple more support brackets. I had to get the wiring from the Hemi to the Terminator computer. which is what this is for. The aftermarket Hemi swap radiator doesn't fit at all. I have to modify this pipe some more and make a heat shield because that is way too close to the radiator for comfort. Those nifty Hemi swap headers from TTI, they required modification because 6-speed. A lot of thought and time has gone into this. It's not just a swap, it's engineering. I have quite a bit of time just in making the wiper motor plug into the car, so yeah, it's just a totally different approach to things, which is really interesting to me. I'm really enjoying this project. It's quite a thought exercise, I guess. But I think this is what I'm going to be seeing in my nightmares for years to come. If you're going to build a car like this yourself at home, good luck. I hope you've got some skills in your toolbox. I'm lucky enough to kind of sort of understand this stuff, but man, it's not easy. And staring at that for a while is enough to make a guy yearn for the simplicity of like a slant 6 under the hood. Well, the good news is I am actually finally almost done with all the bracketry and wiring stuff. I still have to terminate the lights, but I've got most of it figured out. We might actually get a dashboard installed today or tomorrow, and that'll be huge. Still got to get the front ride height set. Don't worry about that. I've got to reserve final judgment on this until it's done, because it's going to be amazing, and I know that. It's going to be terrifyingly fast. I would just like to take a moment and remind you that if this is what you want, new Challengers already exist. It's cheaper, and it's a whole lot faster to just buy one of those. Anyway, back to what I was doing, which was fabricating a humongous, complicated PCM mount bracket. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Of course, we'll do a project update on this thing pretty soon. Go into a bit more detail on everything I've done. I guess that's about it. I can't imagine 2 more different cars, despite being the same car. One of them's much faster, starts much better, stops better, handles better, and the other one's a Hemi Challenger. I know which one I'm choosing. How about you? Is it the fancy space age Restamon thing? Or a factory original-ish car? 318, 340, 440, or otherwise. Alright, I'm back to thinking it's cool again.